So, you want to be an it girl?
All right, guys, welcome back to Confessions of a Wannabe It Girl. Today we are joined again by Hayley Podell, back to the podcast, episode 8. If you haven't heard it, it's been a long time. Welcome back.
Like over a year.
Yeah, it has been over a year. It was like May. So welcome back, Hayley.
Thanks. Happy to be back.
Oh my God. I was listening to it today to prepare for this, just, whatever. And I was like, wow, you really speak so eloquently about social media. So I'm very excited to get into this. Tell us about your life, what you do, and like where you're at right now.
Okay. So I'm Hayley. Marley and I know each other because she is dating my brother. And I am an influencer marketing manager. So the last time I was on the podcast a little over a year ago, I was in the beauty industry doing the same thing, but I was at a beauty startup. And now I'm technically in the card game industry. I like to call it more so like the lifestyle industry, but I work for a company or a brand called We're Not Really Strangers, which is a card game that's about forming deep human connections and, kind of getting in touch with your emotions and things like that. So I feel like every time I say and things like that, now I think of Julia Fox and things like that.
And stuff like that.
So yeah, that's a little bit about me. I've been in the industry for 3 years now. And my specialty is kind of going into startups and building their influencer program from the ground up. So that's what I'm doing right now at We're Not Really Strangers, or Winners for short. I have been there a little over 3 months now, and I'm just going in and building out the whole influencer program, the organic side of things, which is like gifting. And then my main focus is, and my main like expertise is paid partnerships. Mm-hmm. So internal and external partnerships with influencers, various talent. I also plan our events, things like that. So I'm kind of all over the place, but my expertise is definitely in influencer marketing.
But you are literally the head of this entire department.
So I'm actually because I'm the only person in this department. So We're Not Really Strangers is a startup. It technically began officially in 2019, but they honestly haven't gone very heavily into the world of influencing and how beneficial that can be for a brand. So I'm kind of their first stab at the influencer world. Mm-hmm. They've had like small gifting campaigns here and there, but never anything more official than that, never tracking any KPIs or anything like that, key performance indicators. So yeah, I'm a one-woman team for now. Eventually I will have a team hired out under me. But yeah, it's just me, myself, and I doing the glamorous stuff and the dirty work, like packaging boxes and handwriting notes. So yeah.
So you're an expert in influencering.
Yes.
Yes, we love that.
But I myself am not an influencer, never will be. Don't know anything about
what is that one?
Being an influencer, but I know...
You know the space.
I know the business side of things,
totally.
Yeah.
So kind of give us the current climate of social media right now. I mean, COVID has had a huge effect. I think bumping it up, TikTok. I'd love to hear kind of what you think about the space right now.
So TikTok has obviously had a huge impact on social media in general, and it's actually my favorite social media platform. I never really super liked social media. It was kind of like my natural leeway. I was like, obviously this is where marketing is going to. Right. So I saw my opportunity and I took it with influencer marketing, which I'm lucky because I love what I do. But I always thought social media was kind of stupid before I discovered TikTok. Like Instagram, YouTube was before TikTok became a thing, YouTube was probably my favorite form of social media for influencers to use, like vlogging on YouTube. It wasn't as accessible as TikTok is, but TikTok has definitely become my favorite social media because it can be very authentic and anyone can blow up no matter what. You don't need any money. You don't need to invest any time into anything. You can just blow up for being yourself and literally just being like a random person on the street. Whereas for YouTube, you needed mics, you needed lights, you needed all this expensive equipment to kind of get yourself off the ground, fancy cameras. But on TikTok, you can literally just blow up with the phone
and how
you already
do you
have
feel
in your hand.
about Instagram then, in that regard?
I So I like Instagram stories.
Okay.
And Instagram stories are where we do a lot of our deals for paid partnerships because the swipe up is, or the now tap click thing is very convenient, and it's a good way to interact with your audience. But I think Instagram as a platform is just dying overall.
I'm so glad you said it because like I'm the total opposite. I think I have like a little bit of like attraction to like old school blogging, which became very much Instagram. And I've heard a lot of Instagram influencers talk about how it's dying and it's becoming different. Like, what does that actually mean?
I mean, feed posts are irrelevant. When I see businesses, companies, brands, whatever, pay an influencer for a feed post, I am shocked.
Wow.
Because I don't know what that's getting you. That's not driving you any sales. There's nothing you can track there other than like impressions, reach, likes, which essentially mean nothing these days. We track a lot of different metrics, but I would just never ever pay someone for a feed post unless it was like some extenuating circumstance where it was a collab or something like that, in which case we would have them like, guerrilla marketing, have them, post on every single platform that they're on. But I would never pay someone for a feed post otherwise. I don't even scroll through my Instagram feed. Wow. If I'm on Instagram, I'm clicking through my stories. And I feel like most people would agree with me on that.
What do you think about Reels then?
I mean, I know a lot of people like Hunter, for example.
Fuck with the Reels hard too.
My brother
doesn't use TikTok.
Doesn't use TikTok. So his argument is that he sees all the same stuff on Reels. I disagree, but I personally don't use Reels, but I think there is a benefit to it. And I think right now it's probably one of the only things keeping Instagram relevant. I would never choose to pay someone for a Reel over a TikTok. If I'm having them post a video like that, in vertical format, it's going on TikTok. It's not going on Reels, or it's going on both, but TikTok's always going to be the first choice,
Great.
So, yeah.
I'm so curious about this because we talked a lot about Instagram last time you were here. So tell us about TikTok. Like, what is going on with TikTok? Like, how much money is to be made literally around TikTok?
So it's kind of different for every brand what platform they prefer. For example, when I was in the beauty space, TikTok didn't really work for us, or we hadn't really found our niche on TikTok yet. So we did everything on Instagram stories, YouTubes. That was kind of like our home base. But now with We're Not Really Strangers, like I said, it all depends on the brand, what kind of like content they put out. We're Not Really Strangers, TikTok is like one of our best performing social media platforms. So we focus heavily there with paid deals, right? However, TikTok definitely has a little bit of a barrier to entry because there's no place to put a clickable link right in the video, which I guarantee you that will change in the coming months, and I can't wait till it does. But we always require a link somewhere so that we can track the clicks, the revenue, sales. Because of that, we have them put either a link in their bio, or some people like to drive their TikTok followers to their Instagram. So we'll have them put in the caption of the TikTok, click on the link in my Instagram story, right, to, go and buy this product. So we'll either have them link it in their link tree, or like I said, put it in their Instagram story. So that's the biggest barrier to entry with TikTok, and that's one of my biggest complaints. However, it still works one way or another. If they're buying the product, they're gonna be willing to direct themselves to the link regardless. But TikTok is an absolute money machine. For example, I was on a call today.
Oh God, I love when she tells us about the calls.
So we have something called the Couples Edition.
Ooh.
I actually meant to bring the game so that we could play a couple cards together, but I completely forgot to bring it. There's one of the editions is called the Couple Edition, and we just restocked it, so we're doing a whole campaign around that. So I was on a call today about a TikTok couple who are both dancers. They kind of came up when like the Hype House type people came up. They weren't in the Hype House, or I don't know.
The dancer type.
Two dancers, they're young. They're like not even 20 yet, I don't think. I don't know their exact age, but they're like 19 and 20 years. Maybe one of them's 21, I don't even know. But they're a couple, they're both dancers, they're so cute. The girl gets like anywhere between 1 million to 4 million views per video. And the boyfriend is somewhere in like 200 1,000 to like 1 million views per video.
But still.
Great engagement.
Yeah.
Great engagement. That's the other crazy thing is engagement is just so much higher on TikTok than any other social media platform. And engagement is king in the world of influencers. So on my call, we're a startup. We don't have a huge budget right now, which is what I'm used to. I'm very well accustomed to startup world and being scrappy and not having a lot of money to work with. So I tell the agent, or the manager, sorry, that our budget for this campaign is between $7,000 and $10,000 for a 30 to 60 second TikTok of this girl playing the game with her boyfriend. And I knew going into it that was a low ball. I knew she was gonna say, oh, I don't know if we're gonna be able to make that work, because I knew based on her engagement, and rightfully so, but a lot of times people will accept low ball deals to kind of develop a relationship. If it's a brand they really like, develop the relationship and, eventually move into a bigger deal, which is what we would do. But of course she was like, oh yeah, no, I don't think we're going to be able to make that work. And that happens all the time. $10,000,
60 seconds.
It would more likely be 30 seconds. Yeah.
I'm just going to revel in that one for a quick little second.
And mind you, I don't think this girl is even 21 yet.
Yeah, and okay, question. It's about the views on TikTok or it's about the followers?
It's never about the followers. And if someone bases it off of the followers, you got a problem, because someone can have 1 million followers and they can get 9,000 likes per photo. And in that case, if you're doing a deal with that person, you are then paying for the followers that you see when you go to their profile, but none of those sales will convert. So like, for example, we also are in the midst of doing a lot of deals with a girl on, we literally just signed her contract today, a girl on TikTok. She's dating like a guy from a reality TV show, and she just constantly posts. She kind of like vlogs throughout her day, which is my favorite kind of TikToker. She vlogs throughout her day. She's very real. She's very authentic, and she has her own merch line, which just sold out. And so it's things like that where you know that someone's going to perform and someone's going to convert to sales for you, new audience, new revenue, all that sort of thing. And she only has like 400K followers.
Wow, but she sells.
Right. Whereas someone with millions of followers might not.
Right.
So if someone is basing working with someone off of followers rather than engagement and authentic content, they probably don't really know what they're doing.
Yeah, see, that's mind-blowing to me, because there's an influencer, the one influencer I'm obsessed with, and I don't have a lot.
Who?
Lauren Bostic. I've told you about this.
Yeah.
And she has 1 million followers, but she just started putting out stuff. And
her own brand?
Right.
Is she did like home stuff? Is that what it is?
No, like it's like the facial roller, the humidifier.
Yes.
I have all of it.
Right.
I have all of it, except for one that I'm not 100% sold on, but that's a conversation for a different time. And like, I kind of wonder, I'm like, she wasn't about selling for as long. It was really like about being
authentic to herself.
Right. She is an influencer person. She's she lives that pretty life. But like, that's the thing, I think a lot about not really our age, particularly the age that grew up with this always being a thing. Like, we both, even though you're on the very end cusp of it, like grew up a little bit without it. And I'm like, do people realize that the social media, this is marketing now? Yeah. It's interesting.
Yeah. For context, I'm 24. I didn't have Instagram until I was a freshman in high school.
Right.
And I don't think I even paid attention to I actually vividly remember kind of my first introduction to influencers. It wasn't until college, and that was also when I got introduced to the beauty world and everything. And it was this is so niche, literally no one's gonna know who this is, but there was this girl, Alyssa Violet and FaZe Banks, and they lived together in what was kind of the first ever hype house. It was called the Clout House, and they would vlog everything, and it was all their friends in this house together, and they would vlog everything, and I was fucking obsessed with them. I would watch their vlogs incessantly. And that was kind of how I first discovered influencers. Back then, they weren't selling anything on their, because this was 2016. So back then, no one was selling anything. Influencers were not being paid to do things yet. They were making money based on views on YouTube, as long as they were abiding by all the guidelines on YouTube. They were making money that way, but no one was doing brand deals.
Right. Now it's many companies don't even have marketing outside of influencers.
Right.
It's king.
Influencers are king, which is crazy for the company that I work for now is they're just starting to dabble in influencers. So that's how strong of a base We're Not Really Strangers built, because product and content is king versus influencers. Now we're bringing in influencers to kind of bolster everything up. Whereas at the brand I was previously at, influencers was kind of everything.
Yeah.
That was like one of our number one ways of getting new customers.
Right. Old school marketing meets new school marketing have officially, in my mind, merged.
Yeah.
Now.
Winners is kind of like the perfect mix of the two.
Yeah. How did they market before?
I mean, it's just content. And so, I mean, you've seen their Instagram. It's very much posting those quotes, and it's lifestyle-y, and it's, you know, self-helpy.
If you just looked at it and didn't know what it was, I don't know. You
wouldn't, And that was one of the first things that I told them when I got hired, was that you look at our Instagram and you have no idea what we're selling. And they want to, and rightfully so, we want to keep it that way, because that's kind of how we've become. We have like 4.7 million followers or something like that.
Huge.
Which is huge for a brand, especially one that's so young, just starting in 2019. But it's because all of we don't post salesy content.
Right. Because people don't like to be sold to.
Yeah,
people
exactly.
People are smart enough, especially now.
But people do like to be sold to if it's organic and if it seems authentic to the person that's selling it to you. So like with We're Not Really Strangers, it's pretty easy because the game itself is all about authenticity. So it translates better than, for example, a beauty product that you're just trying to shove down someone's throat.
Right. So that's another great place to go. So like, let's talk about that. When you're trying, this can be an example. It doesn't really have to relate to your exact job. To get an influencer to be into a product, what's the process? Start gifting?
Gifting, 100%. But I would never work with an influencer that didn't want or already like love the product. So a lot of times with We're Not Really Strangers, it's a little different because we're a bigger brand. But like my past job, a lot of times you would reach out to someone and they would have never heard of the brand before. So you have to make them like the product by sending it to them, giving them background on it, you know, kind of helping them along. But if someone came back to me and was like, the product isn't really my jam, we would never work with them because of that.
Like, no.
Like it could, because if it's not authentic, it's going to show on camera.
Right.
It's going to be so clear. So yeah. But with Winners, it's pretty much everyone kind of identifies with the brand.
Yeah, that's so true, because it is a great product. Like, we have the game here, whatever. But let's talk about a product that people don't know, and like it doesn't come off authentically. Like, and maybe they don't know the brand. Maybe they'd be a fan of it, but they don't know it yet. You start with gifting, and you see how they react to it. Yeah, and you're lucky if they, you know, post an unboxing on their story, maybe. Because then that kind of starts to build the relationship with the brand. And also a lot of times we won't work with someone who hasn't ever posted about us before. Okay,
with someone
that's
who's
huge.
It would just be like so out of the blue to work with them. We typically like to have them build up to with their audience.
Not
you know?
authentic.
Yeah, exactly. And authenticity is everything, because people aren't stupid. People can see right through, you know, the fake. So like, for example, there's huge companies like Maybelline and L'Oreal and all those makeup companies.
Right.
A lot of times, like, their foundation or whatever isn't going to be your cult favorite foundation that they use every day. But will that brand come to an influencer and say, I'll pay you $40,000 to post this one TikTok? Absolutely. So is that person going to do it? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But they might not actually like that product. But if you're getting paid a lot of money, you're going to accept the deal.
Right.
And if an influencer says that they wouldn't, they're probably lying.
Yeah, no, for sure.
There's always a price, you know?
Oh, yeah. I mean, no, this podcast has taught me so much about influencing, and like, these people, they fucking work for it. It's a hard job sometimes.
Yeah, no, it's not easy by any means.
You're going to take the 40K.
But I mean, as would I.
Yeah, same.
But something like the brand that I work for is much more authentic because we don't have a lot of money to throw at people. So if someone is working with us, it's because they love us and they actually play the game, they wear our merch, they love the brand, and they identify with it overall.
Oh, fuck you. Literally, I need to get you this book. I read a book over quarantine, and it's by the founder of Rodeo. Have you heard of Rodeo? It's a very high-end skincare line.
Oh, I thought it was pronounced Rodile. Yeah.
Yeah, she said, I listened to the audiobook, so she said Rodial in the book. And
I'm
maybe
sure that's what it's called.
I don't know. But she talks
what you're
about
talking about,
that. She says if you have X amount of money,
anyone will work for you.
Right. But it's when you have less money and you're selective that you'll make shit really work, and that's how you actually pop off. And she talked about using like influencers that really cared about the brand. And back then when she was talking about it, it was celebrities. It wasn't even influencers.
Right.
Like,
because the celebrity was the original influencer. Yeah.
Right. So, and it's, if you have the money, you'll use whoever, and it probably won't work. But so how do you find the people that are actually fans of it already? So
we get a lot of influencer DMs.
Okay.
So like the first day working at We're Not Really Strangers, all I did for literal hours was just scroll through our like thousands of DMs. And also one of the things that gets us the most reach, impressions, all that on social is people reposting our feed posts. So you've seen them. We'll post those like the quotey, feed posts.
They're very artistic too.
Yes. Because the founder, she's an artist. So yeah, it's very, very artistic, very like self-helpy. And like Bella Hadid will repost that all the time. Complex reposts us all the time. And that's where a lot of our new followers come from, actually. So it's things like that kind of get the brand awareness out there.
And you're not paying for that.
We're not paying for that. That's all organic, which is saying a lot about the brand.
Right.
Because organic love is the hardest love to find.
Well, and also that you have an artist truly making the content, not just like Canva.
Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah, no, but that's true. I mean, some people see integrity into it and like they're like, I want to share.
Marley's referring to We're Not Really Strangers, we don't really Photoshop anything. All of the photos that you see on our Instagram are our literal employees going out on the streets, painting a big sign and like flipping it over a freeway overpass. Yeah, and literally going out there, taking a photo, sitting in one spot for hours, waiting for something red to walk by.
How many people are on that team?
The creative team, it's actually our biggest team. I think it's like 10 people.
Well, and it
overall.
pays off because you're getting that natural reach.
Yeah.
But that's hard work.
Yeah, no, it is. And they're out in the streets like really doing it. So
that's the thing too. And it's a great segue for what I wanted to go into. That's what a true influencer will do, is sit on the street, wait for the moment.
And get the shot,
and take the photo. It's an artistic job. However, there's this nice little trend going on TikTok. I've definitely fallen down this rabbit hole. And it's like, girls, you need to take your Instagram seriously. And it shows you.
Yeah.
Do we need more influencers? Do we need this space?
I mean, I'm in a different mindset now because I work for a lifestyle brand now, not a beauty brand.
Right.
And we sell authenticity. So like we would work with anyone no matter their aesthetic. But beauty brands and fashion brands won't. Like the Revolve girl is very much so, she has to have a curated, beautiful, pleasing to the eye feed. She has to work for that feed. It's the aesthetic. For We're Not Really Strangers, absolutely not. We would rather you shit post, and that would like pull us to you more because it's authentic. Yeah. But beauty brands and it all depends on what kind of audience you want to appeal to, because we will still work with like the Revolve girlies, but that's not like our only requirement. Like I would much rather work with someone who's doing whatever the fuck they want on their Instagram and on their TikTok, rather than posting what they think their audience wants to see or what they think brands want to see. Right. Because it is easy to see through, like to see right through that. But I mean, some girls just have it. Some girls, it's easy for them to, go out there and put together like 6 different outfits and take a million photos and get a ton of good, it depends on the kind of person you are.
I think it's interesting. It's just becoming like kind of a crowded space. There's a lot of people who want to do it. I mean, I literally saw somebody post their kids' first day back to school, and it's like, my daughter wants to be a YouTuber. And that's fucking great. I'm for it. But it's like, do we need more? Do we not need more? Like, should we be focusing on more people, better quality? Should we have a lot of people?
That's why I like TikTok, though, because it doesn't, first of all, it does get very toxic. Like, I know the bullying on TikTok is out of control.
Dude.
And that's definitely like something that needs work. But I love TikTok because you can make it anything you want it to be. And social media is not going to go away.
No.
Whether like some of these platforms that we're on now become obsolete, maybe, but a new one will always be born, right? So like these kids saying they want to grow up and be a YouTuber, blah, blah. There's always going to be a next generation, always. So, I mean, is the space crowded? Yeah, it's fucking crowded, but it's never not going to be. And you have to set yourself apart from the rest.
Right.
So like a great example, I'm probably going to butcher her name, but makeup influencers were some of the biggest and first influencers on the scene on YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube.
2016, 2015, absolutely took over YouTube. Like that was it. That was it for influencers. That was a scene. Now no one really gives a shit about any of the like OG.
I don't even watch it.
Like the Jeffree Stars of the world, no one really cares about. Yeah, right.
No.
I mean,
And
they
that
have
was
their
it.
OG fans, but no one really cares about them anymore. So makeup influencers kind of died down for a long time. Then on TikTok, this influencer, Michaela Nogura, is.
Oh fuck! I love her.
Yeah,
yes.
I love her too.
I love
and
her.
She
I
is
literally
absolutely
commented on her stuff.
crushing it because she is different. She's herself. She's not afraid to like cuss and be raw and funny and
she's like, look at this fucking hotel.
Yes, and she shares her life. And no one gave a shit about makeup influencers really before she came onto the scene.
She really has made me. She's the only one I really follow that's
right.
new. And I'm so into her because she's so just like, this is mine.
Yeah, she doesn't give a fuck. She's authentic.
Yeah.
So yeah, the space is crowded, but there's always room for anyone
to pop
like
off.
you can make room for yourself.
Right.
You just have to be different.
I think I'm talking about the noise of like I'll use the girl, and the irony is I have a photo of me in a garage, but like the girl in the garage taking a photo with the outfit, like it's
like a parking garage.
Right,
you mean
the parking garage. Like I'm kind of sick of it.
I mean, yeah.
I love it at the same time, but I'm a little like.
Yeah, but I think it also depends on what you consume.
True.
Like if you're sick of that, don't follow more of them. Right. You know, because I think there's space for everyone to do whatever they want. Is it absolutely overcrowded? Hell yeah. And I see girls all the time being like, why didn't I get invited to the Revolve event? Like
a million girls.
You can't, not everyone is going to be invited to these things, right? But then fuck them. Why do you want to work with that brand anyways? Reach out to a different brand that you admire and tell them why you would be a great asset to their brand and make great content for them and things like that. So yeah, I think there's space for everyone. Does it get noisy and overwhelming? Absolutely, but you have to be in charge of what you consume.
Yeah, quick sidebar. Like what you mentioned that you don't go through the feed. Like what is your personal relationship with social media? Like you work in this industry.
I am on TikTok constantly because that's where I discover new talent. And that's one of my favorite things to do is to find people who I think are like gonna blow up, and to work with people that maybe other brands aren't necessarily thinking about working with yet. So TikTok is like basically the only form of social media that I consume anymore, which obviously also gets very mind-numbing. You're scrolling through the same shit after a while, but like I said, you're in charge of what you consume, so you have to be the one to tell yourself to get off the phone and read a book, go on a walk, whatever. But stories, because I mean, my friends and I, none of us are influencers, but we don't really like post on TikTok like it's a normal social media. So I would say I go through Instagram stories to see what my friends are up to, see what my friends are posting, not to see influencers. Right. If I want to see influencers, I'm going on TikTok. So, and obviously that's my job. So that's why I'm on TikTok most of the time. I'll maybe go on Instagram like 2 or 3 times a day to scroll through the stories and see what's going on. Yeah,
you have a good boundary with social media, even though it's your job. You don't really let it like influence or consume you too much, which is crazy because you work in the space.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely like I've been saying, I've never had, ever since being on TikTok, I'm like, wow, I've really never had an original experience. I've never had an original thought. But I mean, I definitely don't let it like consume my brain because I know the behind the scenes, like I know how fake a lot of it is. And I was just texting my best friend the other night and about how gullible people on TikTok will believe literally everything. I consider myself a pretty gullible person too. But like the other night, there's this trend going on right now that's like, how close is your boyfriend and your best friend? And it was a video of a girl kissing her boyfriend, but she was pretending to be the best friend. And she made the caption like, OMG, they're so close, pretending like it was her best friend kissing her boyfriend, even though it was actually like the girl. You know what I mean?
But it got the view.
And everyone was fighting in the comments like, sis, like break up with him, blah, blah. When
Cassie
it was, when to me, it was so obviously a joke, but like no one else in the comments got it as a joke. Like it wasn't obvious to anyone else. So, I mean, people on the internet will literally believe anything. So yeah, I mean, TikTok is definitely, it has its flaws too, but I just like how people can be very original and very authentic on there, much more so than you can be on Instagram.
Yeah, I do like the ability that TikTok brings back in the picture of hearing the voice, hearing the speech, or like, you know, showing not just like a still moment of a highlight reel, even though you can do that.
And I do learn a lot on TikTok too.
Yeah.
Like I've become much more, like I know a lot more about what's going on in Ukraine, for example, because people recap it. I almost use it as a news source, which is that good or bad? I don't know. You be the judge of that. You can have your own opinions on that.
But it's honest.
But yeah. But if I'm being honest, TikTok is my main news source, and I learn a lot that way. And I think it's a lot of like Gen Z's news source.
And I don't think that's a bad thing, because I think it's creating awareness.
Yeah,
and is that a
I
bad
agree.
thing? Because like I'm not going to sit and read a newspaper.
Neither would I.
Nope.
I know people listen to podcasts too, and that's great for like my roommate
people.
listens to like a daily
I do too.
recap. Yeah.
The Daily, the New York
the
Times.
Daily. Yeah.
Very popular.
That's another great one.
Right.
But like I use TikTok for that.
Right, and like that's the thing too. Like we can't be from I'm gonna say adults because I think we're children. From an adult standpoint,
Right.
like you can't literally be mad at us for that's how we want to receive information.
Yeah.
You want to read a newspaper. Once upon a time, a newspaper was controversial. So, you know, whatever. And like journalists, we could go down a spiral on that. But no, I think that's very valid and honest to say that like that's, you know, how you choose to be influenced by social media. I don't think it's a bad thing. So tell us about like the people you work with. Like what is the people behind the scene filled with, like industry wise?
Literally all ages, all genders, all like anyone you could imagine. That's the other cool thing is I get to meet a lot of cool people and develop a lot of friendships behind the scenes. I'm definitely probably on the younger side.
Wow, that's surprising.
But there's a ton of us that are my age, a ton of us. People have definitely been in the space longer than me. I would say obviously talent representation has always been a thing because of celebrities.
Totally.
So for example, I think I talked about this a little bit in the last podcast, but United Talent Agency, UTA, is one of the biggest talent agencies in the world. They started a few years ago a complete other branch just to represent social media stars, influencers, called DBA, Digital Brand Architects. The complete other branch just to rep social media stars. And that's a lot of, like, one of the girls that I'm closest with, she's 25, I'm 24. A lot of people in the space are my age, but a lot of people also came over from representing, like, celebrity talent.
Right.
And in that case, like, I'm also dealing with, like, 50-year-old men sometimes. More often than not, they are mid-20s to mid-30 females. But yeah, no, it's all ages.
Right.
I would definitely say majority is probably like 30-year-old females, but I also deal with a lot of male agents that are around my age. But yeah, the toughest ones are the like
curmudgeon,
the like 50-year-old male ones that think they know everything about the space because they've been in the talent space forever.
Sure.
But it might not have necessarily been the influencer space.
Right. And like there's a little bit, I think you're at a huge advantage because you grew up.
Right,
like
in the digital age.
Right.
And there's always a little bit of a power struggle between the in-house manager, which is in-house representing the brand, and, you know, the agency side of things. But that's why you got to build relationships.
Right.
And I would say if I was an influencer and I was like on TikTok or whatever and my audience was growing, do the research and represent yourself for as long as you possibly can. There obviously becomes a threshold when you can't represent yourself anymore. At one point, you know, eventually people get too big and you simply cannot represent yourself anymore. You need representation. You need a manager. You need an agent. But if I was an influencer, I would represent myself as long as I possibly fucking could. And I would do the research. I would learn what I need to charge for. I mean, every little single thing you should be charging extra money for. Every single thing. And you should learn like what your rates are based off of other people's engagement. Talk to anyone you can in the industry. If I was an influencer, I would literally not get a manager and agent till the last second.
Wow, I didn't expect you to say that at all. Like,
I mean, I would for sure probably have a different perspective if I was on the agency side, because agents want to get in and represent you as you're blowing up, right? Because they make a cut.
Yeah.
And yeah, they might have connections to be able to get you to bigger brands, of course, get you more money, get you more deals, you know?
But you're already going up.
But you're already growing. If a brand wants to work with you, they're gonna come to you. Mm-hmm. They're gonna notice you. If you want to keep that authenticity, you shouldn't have to be chasing after brands. They should come to you. However, when you're small, when you're growing, you should absolutely be reaching out to the brands that you want to work with, because you might not be on their radar yet. But still, I think you should learn how to represent yourself as long as humanly possible.
Well, then also you'll understand once down the line.
Then you understand the business. Yep. You know how to read a contract. You know how to, go through red lines and price yourself out. So yeah.
And I think that's
you protect yourself
to a lot of different like work fields. Like no matter what it is, like learning to do it completely by yourself at first is going to give you power. Like for instance, I used to edit this podcast completely by myself.
Right.
I don't edit.
You were in the throes of it though.
Right. But I know if A, in a pinch, my editor can't do it, or B, like I just want to make sure something's out before I send it, whatever, like I can do it. But it's the same for so many other work fields. So Hayley, the big question of the month, like, are you under the influence? Do you consider yourself under the influence? What is being under the influence?
I mean, yeah, my whole world is based off of the influence of others, I think. I don't think I let social media like cloud my view of myself. So I think being under the influence is kind of similar to like imposter syndrome, where you kind of, like I said, feel like you've never had an original thought, feel like you're somewhere you shouldn't be. Which I know that applies to a lot of different things, like in jobs and things like that. It's not just based on social media, but I think we're all under the influence of social media, whether we would like to admit it or not.
I would agree. Hayley, thank you so much for being on this podcast. You are so intelligent and like it blows my mind how like seeped into this you are, but also like able to keep up like a very like healthy boundary of like, this is real, I like it, whatever, which is like what we are so all about. So thank you so much for taking the time and coming back on the podcast. Thank you guys for listening. We'll see you next week.
Bye guys. Thanks.